gentlemen, I'm very pleased to introduce as my first guest on this program from Tramp in London, Captain Fantastic, Mr. Elton John. It's good of you to be here, sir, and I welcome you here.
Thank you very much.
Now, you gave an interview in New York on Metro Media Radio after a gentleman in the New York Times wrote about you, and you called him some rather nasty names. I hope that that's not going to happen here tonight, that you're going to use language that we're going to have to bleep out.
I doubt it.
Were you really upset with him? Did you feel that you were reviewed badly when you were in New York?
I don't mind bad reviews at all. I always get them, in fact. I'm used to them. But I was reviewed, I thought, negatively. And it wasn't more like a review, more like an edict. Mustn't like Elton John because I don't think he's very good. And everyone at the concert should have been home listening to the Linda Ronstadt album. So I just thought it was very condescending. It wasn't so much a review. I probably wouldn't have laid into him so much if I hadn't have been given so much champagne by the radio station.
The old bubbly.
Yeah, right.
In walking around this town for the past couple of days, you get to talk about celebrities who live here and celebrities who don't. And I'm told that you do live in London.
Yeah, well, just outside.
Oh, just outside.
Yeah.
And that you are one of the few big-name, big-earning people who have stayed here because of the tax structure, which I'm told can take as much as 97% of a high earner's income here. Am I correct on that?
No, I think it's a fallacy. The most I pay is 68% tax, which is a lot of money, but it's 68%. I've been told by my solicitors, and I have good solicitors, and I shouldn't think anybody else is any exception to the rule. So it means that I save about 18% because I would pay 50% if I lived in America, say. So for 18%, I have peace of mind. I like living here. God, I have enough money. I mean, what do I need more money for?
Well, I can understand that, but considering that there are many who have moved away, besides your peace of mind and the fact that you love London, why do you stay here? It does cost you money. Or does having enough money simplify it and simply say that's enough?
Well, no, my family is here. My home is here. It's always been here. I have a lot of ties here. I've always liked living in England. 68% of my earnings is a lot of money, but I can live quite comfortable on the other 32%, thank you.
And support your football club?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that.
How is your football club doing?
Well, at the moment, we're halfway up the 4th division, which isn't very enterprising at the moment, but it's early in the season yet. And I'm always optimistic. I think we'll do very well, but it's a very hard game, you know, sport. You just can't be successful overnight. It takes a matter of 2 or 3 years to get something together because you're not dealing with individuals, you're dealing with individuals who have to make up a team. So I think we'll do very well, but I know we'll do very well because we're in the 4th division and I want us to end up in the 1st division. So I've set my sights on that, and it's something to aim for, and I know we'll get there in the end.
How much football did you play as a youth?
Very little, because I've got very bad eyes. We played rugby at school, actually, which is very English. And on a Saturday anyway, I used to go to the Royal Academy of Music in the mornings. So it really sort of stopped any of my sporting activities at all.
When did you begin to have the interest in football that led you to owning your own club?
Well, I supported this club, Watford, when I was a young boy. I used to go and stand on the terraces when I was about 6 or 7. And I've been a supporter ever since, really. And now I'm chairman. It's a little bit like a fairy tale, really, but it's happened.
After you left New York, there were articles saying that possibly you were giving up the concert tour, but you weren't going to do it anymore or not do it as much as you have been doing. How much truth to that?
There's quite a lot of truth in that. I'm not going to do it as much as I used to for the time being. I didn't say I am retiring and you will never see me again. I came back and I did a solo concert in Edinburgh with just me and the piano, which was frightening as hell because being used to having support around you, I kept looking around thinking, where is everybody? And I sang songs that normally I wouldn't sing with the band, and it was an exercise in...
For example?
Greatest Discovery, I Need You to Turn To, lots of things. I mean, I sang about 20 songs, about 6 or 7 of which I would have sung with the band, and I sang some songs off the new album. And it was an exercise to think I could actually sit in front of 3,000 people on my own and entertain them. And I probably will do a couple more of those sort of things, but as far as touring with the band goes, for the moment, it's just not on.
When people come to see you in concert, as they did at Madison Square Garden in New York, or as they might do in your American tour when you were in, for example, Dodger Stadium out in Los Angeles, do you think that those people want to hear your classic songs, your 1 million and 2 million record sellers, or would they be happy were you to do songs that you don't normally do, or you have not yet recorded or performed before big audiences?
I can only judge that by myself when I go to concerts. I think they like to hear the old favorites, and they get very disappointed when you speak to them afterwards. You say, well, you didn't sing that, and you didn't sing that. I said, well, I can only sing them so often, otherwise I'll go round the bend, you know. If I go and see a Joni Mitchell concert, and she doesn't sing one of my favorite songs of hers, I get really sort of, oh, and she sings 4 or 5 new ones. You do feel a little bit let down, so you have to be very careful in structuring your set, I think. I usually try and slip in 2 or 3 new ones each time we tour, otherwise it does drive you crazy. I mean, I
do the same thing over and over
Crocodile
again.
Rock drove me around the bend with me, and I couldn't stand it.
Is slipping in a couple of new ones part of a scheme, forgive me, to possibly make them popular as well? Or simply because you're getting bored with the
others? It's for your own sanity. I mean, I've got such a wide catalogue to choose from, seeing as I've written so many songs over the last 5 years, that we can probably play for about 7 or 8 hours and not change a single song. But you do have to cater for the public's taste. I do anyway.
When you are writing songs, do you ever come across the time when you feel as if you've written what you're writing before, that it sounds somewhat the same as something you might have done 3, 4, 5 years ago, and you have to change it? Or are different melodies and different lyrical ideas always running through your mind?
I've never really written anything that I thought, well, I've written that before, no. I don't, and also lyrics don't, and melodies don't run through my head all the time. I can only really get into a melody if I sit down at a piano and I just play and I come across a chord structure and I work on it for a while and then I adapt it to lyrics. And that's the way I write. But a lot of people have said, well, a lot of his songs sound the same. And perhaps that's true, because if you write a lot of songs, then obviously you're going to get into a definitive sort of style. Because, I mean, a lot of Joni Mitchell stuff sounds the same. But I don't think any writer can help that. You develop a certain style of your own. And that becomes your trademark, I suppose.
You've mentioned Joni Mitchell several times. I take it you're a fan,
already.
huh?
Yeah, I think she's great.
Is she your favorite? If you were to, let's say that you weren't Elton John, you wanted to go see a concert, somebody perform. Who would that be?
Above all, Jackson Browne, I would say. Who's I think the male Joni Mitchell, if there is such a thing. No, Jackson Browne is probably one of my favorite composers.
I read a piece here in the Times the other day about Tommy Steele and the problems that he has when he goes on tour. When they have to get him into the hall and get him out of the hall, there are fans waiting, and it's difficult, you know, with security, etc. When you do appearances where there are a lot of people there, as at Madison Square or Dodger Stadium in the States, how do you handle that, the security aspect of getting in and out?
There's no problem in America, because most of the halls you play, you just drive in the limousine and you drive out in the limousine. So you very, very rarely come into any sort of contact, except in Madison Square, where we had traffic jams galore trying to get in the car, and you become like a budgerigar in a cage. But usually we don't have any trouble. Over here it's different, because the halls are fairly antiquated. They're usually just old cinemas. And I don't usually go straight off stage into a car. I usually hang around. But in America, it's off stage, out into the car, and out to the airport before the kids know it. You know? Otherwise, we get stuck in the traffic jam.
Have you ever had any times when they've wanted to rip your cufflinks off if you wear them, or suit buttons, or take your watch or your shoes? A little memento of Elton John?
No, not really. I mean, I have thrown some unusual things away. I think I threw a shirt away, and it depends how drunk I am on stage, or how much fun I'm having.
How drunk do you get on stage, Elton?
Not really. I don't drink on stage. I did on the English tour. I didn't on the American tour. I drank white wine on stage in England because I was petrified of that tour, because we hadn't played in England for so long, and it was like a test. But in America, I don't drink on stage. I usually drink soda water. I did get fairly drunk at the Edinburgh concert I did on my own.
You come out of the audience and say, hey, listen, gang, I'm a little smashed right now, so if I miss a few notes, you'll have to understand.
Absolutely. I've got it on video. I thought, my God, was I that bad? It was all Bloody Marys, and at one point I think I did invite the audience to join me, but there wasn't enough to go around.
Can you remember the words? Can you remember the melodies when you're a little bagged up there?
It helped.
I mean, in my 20 years of doing this, I've been smashed maybe 2 or 3 times and tried to do this, and I find later that you really can't do it properly because you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it does help you to loosen up, and if you do forget the words, then you can always put it down and say I was smashed. No, it helped me out. It loosened me up a bit because I was petrified, and I did forget words. But the general feeling of the evening was sort of a very informal thing, so I think people didn't mind too much.
Interview with Elton John aired on November the 10th of 1976 from the discotheque Tramp in London, England. And as we tape this show now, Elton is just finishing up a tour of the Soviet Union, and I'm told that black market tickets to his concert there were selling for as much as $250 apiece. And Elton's appearance has changed a little bit since that interview ran 3 years ago. He's had a hair transplant, and that's been just about as successful as he has been. We'll be right back with our old friend Cherry Vanilla as tomorrow continues after this for the NBC television stations.